Hi, I'm Gina Wells,
Hi, I'm Kat Toon.
and this is the Success Principles Podcast. Michigan is known as the birthplace of Motown, headquarters to the auto industry, and home of the beautiful Great Lakes. The Success Principles Podcast features professionals and entrepreneurs with ties to this great state who have demonstrated innovation and success both within and outside of our Mittens border. Hello. Today on our Success Principles podcast, I am pleased to have my baby sister, Karen Hilt, owner of Apogee and My Secret Stash in Traverse City, Michigan. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you, Gina.
All right.
Hey, Kat. Hi, everybody.
Well, I was saying to Kat what a unique building of your business that it's been over the years, Karen. You had a dream years ago. So we'd like to hear a little bit about your Michigan roots and what got you to be the successful business owner you are today, my dear sister.
It's a long story, but keeping it short, I grew up in Flint, and I think that's the land of the hustle. Like, you learned to stay on your toes. I think I have incredible street smarts. I can read a situation. I think I always knew I didn't want to work for somebody else long term. Went to school, started in retail, did all kinds of fantastic things, and kind of as my children were being born and growing up, I took kind of a small hobby of making soap and just kept leveraging it. So, you literally start off with, here's $100 cash. I'm going to buy some ingredients, flip it, sell it. Now I have $200 cash, flip it, sell it. And now I have 2 stores in Traverse City. That's the short story. And it was something I wanted. I had a vision in my head, and I just went for it.
You did have a vision in your head. I remember back years ago when Calvin and Julian were just baby boys, and you would be selling soap at some of the vendor things, and I can't remember where it was. But tell us a little bit about how you shared your business with other people early on. Everybody kind of put in a co-op kind of thing?
Well, yeah. So at the beginning, we just did art shows and craft shows and things like that. And then I got involved in a group of makers downstate, Detroit metro area, who kind of leased a retail space. Everybody paid a small portion of rent for their portion, like a booth. And then you could sell through that booth, and you kind of had the collective power of, 100 other artists with you. So maybe somebody wasn't coming just for your piece, but they're coming for the collection, and then I like this, I like that. So there was that power because there were 100 of us cross-promoting each other, and you didn't have to be there 24/7. Everybody kind of took turns working. And so kind of with that concept, when we opened Stash, I took parts of that concept to kind of work into My Secret Stash and how I wanted to run it. And when you have 100 people in a business, it's a challenge because there's 100 different ideas. And I knew that wasn't going to work for me. I needed one idea, one really focused situation. So when I started here, we kind of started in that same way of collecting those makers that I knew downstate and said, hey, I've got a beautiful storefront. You know me as a merchant. You know me as a maker. Come and sell here.
So tell me a little bit about your stores. You have My Secret Stash and Apogee, and you were telling me a little bit about what Apogee means. So just give us an idea of, what you sell, what those stores are about.
Yeah, the 2 stores are very different. My Secret Stash has been here on Cass Street in Traverse City for just over 6 years. We had our 6th birthday during COVID, so we're not sure how we're going to celebrate that yet. It's usually a big party. And that's the store. It's a little funky. It's a little quirky. We're off the main drag in a bright colored building. And you see a lot more of that really small and odd flavor, more comical. Apogee is our newer gift store. We opened right on Front Street in downtown in October. And that's more of a proper gift store. It's a little more minimalist. It's almost laid out like a very curated department store. So when you enter, there's like a beautiful home and like glassware section. There's a beautiful leather goods section. There's a fantastic men's section, a great men's section. All the way back, there's a kids area. There's small gifts for home. We have ceramics. We have more wedding-oriented gifts. And then we have a great home bar area. So truly, if you wanted to get a gift for somebody, Apogee is more set up to be a proper gift store. We're going to wrap it. It's very curated. where Stash, you find things as gifts for everybody, but they're maybe a little smaller and a little quirkier and a little funkier. So both fun.
For everyone.
Yeah. Apogee means the height of something, right? It means the best of something. So we consider Apogee as being like the height of a proper, good, old school gift store, which you don't see.
Well, speaking of Apogee and the best of something, who is the best sister? Who is the Apogee sister?
Say that.
The two of you.
I'm the best sister. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I want some dirt. I'm going to need some dirt, okay? So we'll talk after this, Karen.
Absolutely, because there's dirt. Not on me.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're all fantastic sisters. We're probably the best sister crew I know.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, so you have two successful businesses in Traverse City, arguably one of the hottest tourist spots in Michigan. So was there a point, what point did you decide this is what I want to do for a living? Because was it very early on when you were in your basement making soap, or did it take a little longer?
I think I've known kind of forever that I was going to be kind of the creator of my life from when I was very young. And I would say I probably learned some of that from my older sisters, because there's a nice little age gap between us. And so they were able to do everything, but I was a lot younger, so I want to do whatever they were doing. So I was always driven to be as good as my sisters, or to be as fast as my sisters, or as smart as my sisters. And that's like a small portion. After I kind of got out of high school and started my 20-something life, I went to photography school. And even then, like, my goal wasn't to be a photographer who was going to work for somebody else. It was always, I was going to be a photographer in my own studio. I had a vision in my head. I knew it was going to be an old Victorian house, and I was going to live on the second floor, and the studio was going to be on the first floor, and the lab was going to be in the I had this thing laid out in my head. So I always knew that it was going to be something that I was doing on my own. And so I would say, for as long as I can remember, that's been my mindset. So, manifesting is a great word right now, but I just think I really put my mind to it, and it keeps evolving into what I want. And then I get the next thing I want, and then it just keeps evolving. So
I would have to say that I have watched you move forward in everything that you've done through all the places you've lived, Lansing, Washington State, right?
Yep. San Francisco.
I mean, you guys have always just kind of kept moving and getting done what you needed to get done and living a great life. And that's part of the success. As you see it in front of you, you're driven, you keep moving towards that target. And now that you're up in Traverse City, back where you guys have always wanted to be, I think, right? Traverse is your favorite?
Yeah, why not? What a great area.
And your boys are almost grown. How do you see Apogee and My Secret Stash? Obviously, when all this continues to get better, as it will from COVID, are you hiring? Do you still, have people up there? How do you get your product in? Who makes it? And
wow, that's a lot of questions. We have makers from all over. Both stores feature a majority of Michigan makers. We have national brands because it fills in the holes of things that people want. But we try to stay as American made as possible because we can. We don't have to compete with the stores who are getting, stuff for 20 cents made from China, cute or not. The joke is everybody asks us if we have Traverse City shot glass. No, I don't have a Traverse City shot glass because they're all made in China. And if one of my makers made a shot glass, it'd be awesome. But I charge $10 for it because I pay the fair market to our makers. So they can't make 10 million of them. They don't have a factory that makes 10 million shot glasses. So, when we're getting things, we're going to the people that we know.
Mm-hmm. Are there 10 million visitors? Are there 10 million visitors?
Oh, yes. Just this week. Even without Cherry Fest, there were 10 million visitors this week.
Mm-hmm.
So I got lost for a second. How do we get people? Where do I see myself? I mean, we're definitely hiring. I know what my next vision is. I'm not saying it just yet. But, you can't, if I don't have my next vision already in my head, then the stores just sit here and we're open, and that's just it. So I already know what the next thing is going to be. It's going to take a hot minute, but I know what it's going to be.
So we're just going to be on hold until the next podcast to find out what it is.
Yeah.
So it's not it might not be that far away.
Okay.
But, we had two clear visions for the stores that we have now. And when I say we, that's me, myself, and I'm the collective. I'm like the queen. Well, we think that this is how it should be. But we're definitely hiring. Right now, we're okay with summer staff because we have, college students who come back every year, but they're all leaving again. They go back to school. Some of them, even though their classes are all online, are still going back, to wherever their college homes are. So we're looking for that year-round staff person. And in a town like this, that's comically enough, really hard to find. So I'll put that out there. We're definitely hiring. I need, 2 to 3 part-time people or a full-time person that splits between stores. And that's just part of the growth, right? If you're not prepared to support it, to support that growth as an owner, then you're just going to kind of stay stagnant, or you end up working yourself to death, which is not my goal, right? I want to work on my business, not necessarily in my business, although I do love working in my business. It's fun.
That's the number one thing to success, for sure.
Yep.
So one of your challenges right now, obviously, is finding some staff to work for you. What have been some of your other challenges creating these stores?
Well, I mean, certainly finding the right mix of product is a challenge, right? When we use our smaller makers, finding people who can still support us, right? Their busiest time is the same time as my busiest time. So they're doing their own shows and they're trying to make enough things for themselves, let alone supplying my stores at my peak times as well. So that's certainly a challenge, right? We have to find people who can make the quality that we look for to have a nice store. You need to have good quality made things. And there's no lack of makers. I love that about Michigan. There's no lack of people who are making things, but it's kind of that consistency. So that's certainly a challenge for us. I would say right now specifically, that challenge is just dealing with the effects of COVID. Luckily, we learned to pivot early on when things were shutting down, and we needed to shut down. Traverse City was very safe. You would die laughing because during the shutdown, nobody was anywhere. You could lay down and take a nap on Front Street. There was not a single car anywhere. Like, people just stayed home.
Wow.
So, but that also means, right, we weren't open for business for 2 months. So, being prepared to weather that and then being prepared to move forward through that in a different way. A lot of businesses really needed to pivot. And I think that we did a good job on pivoting and expanding what we did, and working through our internet so that we could do curbside delivery, local delivery. That's the challenge right now. Certainly, we don't have the foot traffic in Traverse City, and we don't want as much. We don't want the Cherry Fest right now. That's just too many people for this small of an infrastructure. So that challenge right now is just making sure that we're safe, that our staff is safe, that we're doing everything we should be doing, I guess. And we are 100% on what we should be doing, because my number one, other than, making money and staying afloat, is managing that flow so my staff is happy and healthy, right? We want to make sure that they're getting what they need for their personal selves. And that's always been a big thing to me, is making sure that staff is getting what they need.
Sure.
And that helps me stay successful. If staff is happy, then I'm super happy.
Yeah. Now, Karen, early on, and I'm not sure, and you'll have to say which Facebook it is that you go live on. Is it My Secret Stash or Apogee, or both?
We did both.
You would go live during all of this and kind of sell a product, and your sons helped, and especially Julian. But tell us a little bit about how that came about, because you were just so natural, would get on the Facebook Live and start walking around the store and showing some things and talking about what's for sale and how you're going to get it to them.
Yeah, and I laugh like, oh, I don't want to go back and look at those. Oh my gosh. That was just part of the pivot, right? People needed to know what I had. They needed to know how to get a hold of me, or how to contact me, or see what was in the store. And it was a good launching ground. Literally, I would just hold up my phone and start talking. I would walk through the store with my phone and I'll look, here's this is what's going on. We focus on a certain something. We'd focus on beer and wine, which was a fantastic one through COVID, because everybody needed a drink, I think. It was a thing. Soap, we sold tons of soap, and that's what the whole store started with, was soap. So there were a lot of those key things, and those videos also helped people see what we're doing from far away and order. And I will say, shout out to my hometown, boys and girls in Flint. My friends, who some of them I haven't seen in, longer years than I care to imagine, but are living across the country. We're like supporting our small business here in Flint. And I'm super grateful for that also, right? Because that's another thing Flint's good for. We take care of each other. For sure.
Well, I did at Easter time, got Easter baskets for my grandkids, but I did get my Apogee purse for my sister.
Oh, yes, you did. I have it.
And with it, she sent me some soap, and I've already used one of them. Now, one of the soaps that you made, Karen, is called the Doomy Bar, which is a very nice thing. That it just.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Yes, Kat. Yeah, let me tell you, it's called the Doomy Bar.
Okay.
You gotta get one, Kat.
Let me write that down. Okay.
So, Karen, the Doomy Bar you've been making for years, and it is a moisturizer after a shower. So tell us a little bit how you created that product, because I think you created that, correct?
Well, I'm not the only person who's doing some version of that, but the Doomy Bar in its form is, that's my thing. So it's actually not a soap. It's just a solid moisturizer. And in its most basic form, it's cocoa butter, shea butter, some fragrance, and exfoliant. So usually sugar. Sometimes we do them with ground oatmeal, or, I have different styles. And so really meant to be, once you're in the shower and you're done doing your normal cleansing, you just take this little bar and kind of just rub it on your arms, your torso, wherever you need it, set the bar down. And because it melts at your body temperature, then you're just going to keep rubbing it in. And then you're moisturized and your skin feels great, which is great in the winter because it's Michigan and our skin is nothing but dry. And in the summer, we're sunburned, or you're still kind of that dry skin, even though it's super humid out. So it's just a nice moisturizer, and it doesn't have water and alcohol and emulsifiers and e-waxes and all this ridiculous stuff. It's super, super natural.
So on the subject of the Doomy Bar, do you have any other favorite products?
That I make?
Yeah, you make it, somebody else makes?
Well, I will say part of our pivot was hand sanitizer. And so a lot of our maker friends all did hand sanitizer. And I know a lot of the different distilleries throughout the state started making, using their alcohol, and instead of turning it all the way into the drinkable form, right, they would use that as a hand and surface sanitizer. So we've worked with Grand Traverse Distillery to use some of their base alcohol that is not for drinking, and then turn that into our own hand sanitizer that we sell by cute little bottles. So fantastic. That's just part of the pivot. So right now we love that because we all need it. And there's a little person looking at me in the window. Sorry. And the soap has always been our longtime favorite, right? Natural, handmade soap. It's so fantastic. Better than liquid soap. It's naturally antibacterial. It's better. Regular hand soap is the most fantastic cleanse that we shall be using right now, but forever, right? I haven't used liquid soap in a million years. A sort of like dishwashing soap, something like that. And then a body butter. We have a really good body butter called Dream Cream that's super thick, and just a little dab will do you because it, again, spreads very nicely and it absorbs in. So, I mean, it's the normal stuff, bath bombs, you name it, we do it all.
Could I go and buy your products? Oh, I'm sorry, Gina. Can I buy your products online?
Yes.
You can ship them, so I could go online right now. Where would I go?
MySecretStash.com. MySecretStash. MySecretStash.com. And we've got that online, and it changes a lot if you're looking for a certain flavor. Right now I'm selling bath bombs so fast I can't practically keep them updated on the web. So we just tell people, give us a holler. We can tell you what's current at the moment. But the soaps online are pretty consistent because I make huge batches, like 100-pound batches. So I'm good.
Yeah, always impressive to do that. And then maybe at the end of this, we always put your websites and things of that nature. We'll also put the link of Julian's song that he did during COVID, which should have gone viral, and hopefully it will because it's the cutest thing ever.
Two of them.
Wait, what's that? Tell me about that.
So he'd stand in front of the sink and wash his hands. And one song was, we will wash you. So we would videotape this whole little snippet of him. We changed the words to a song that everybody knows, but we change it into washing and being safe. So we'll put the links in. They're hilarious.
How cute. How old's Julian?
17.
Okay. Okay.
Anybody, I think I should get, I don't know, Mom of the Year to get a 17-year-old child to do these ridiculous things.
Yes.
And he has for years, Kat. He has for years sold with Karen. So has her older son.
Yeah.
You know, Karen, if you could pinpoint one or a few principles that have guided your success, whether good or bad, things that you've learned over the years, who've guided you? Have you had mentors? Tell us a little bit about.
I think I draw, I'm a bad person in that I don't say I have like one specific mentor. I certainly pay attention to a lot of information. And sometimes I just rely on kind of my street smarts and then think about it and flip it into where it's one thing I'll tell people when they're starting something new is, and that helped me, is not to do everything, right? Focus and narrow in. My favorite one is every day somebody says, oh, you know what you should do? When I hear that, I listen, thank you for that. Thank you for those tips. But the reason I don't do everything is because it just dilutes what you're doing. So really focus on the one thing that you do well, especially when you're starting. A fun example, like jewelry makers, they're, a new craft person. Well, they make jewelry, they do photography, they do sand art, and, they make soap. Like, pick one of those things and do it really well. You can't do 50 really various things well in a marketplace. And even My Secret Stash is honed down. We used to have like a very large variety, and we still have a great variety. It's definitely honed into those bestsellers. So every year we kind of look at our best top 20% and our bottom 20%, and we slice the bottom 20 off. You just have to. And then we look for the next higher 20%, right? So part of that growth is making sure that you're paying attention, like in a retail situation, what is working for you? Keep doing that and cut off what's not working for you. So I think no matter what you do, that's not bad advice, right?
I like it. Cutthroat. Just
cutthroat. It's not mean.
You're not working.
We're polite about it. We're very hard. And that's the hardest thing for me. Hardest thing personally for me is to tell somebody, thank you. It just wasn't working. Can you come pick up your things? God, it breaks my heart because I know that I'm dashing somebody's, dreams. But it doesn't mean the product is bad. It just means it's not the right fit for where I am. Certain things didn't do well at My Secret Stash. They were fantastic at Apogee, and vice versa. So we're always flexing to get the right place at the right time. So that would be maybe my business mantra, is to make sure you're getting the right things in the right place at the right time, and don't focus on everything. Focus on one really good thing.
Well, that's good. That would be overcoming the obstacles of selling. What were some of the things, though, Karen, that I know financially there were times, and if you don't mind, we've used kind of a family banking system where we say, hey, Karen, you needed some cash. Mom threw in, helped you out there with that. And then, you're going to recirculate that money ultimately. But there's always capital issues or, like you've already talked about employees. What are some of the issues financially that you would suggest to business owners such as yourself to help them make sure they stay in line and be able to keep their doors open, especially
right now? Mm-hmm. And I think it would still come back to find out those one or two things that are working. Like, as an example, in Traverse City, we're primarily a summer-focused business. So end of June through to the beginning of September is really everybody in this town says that's when you have to make enough money to pay people year-round, to get product year-round. And we have a great shoulder in, October. And then you have holiday, which is fantastic, but they're all very different flows. You really have to understand those flows. So if you get a soft year or something big, we had a couple big things come up at the store. They're like, we need to take this opportunity, and it's going to cost money to get there. So it's nice to, we're able to use our, personal banking situation. I'm like, what's my word?
Family banking.
Family banking to get some of those things, like our liquor license. It was not cheap nor easy.
That's definitely something that our family wanted to support, by the way.
Liquor license. Thank you for that. Thank you. But right, that was something that was not in the game plan.
That's true.
It is absolutely in the game plan now, and is doing well, and it's really helped round out the store. So that kind of familial way of doing it is fantastic. We know that we're going to be tight in January, and really we just try to float on the most minimal we can, January, February, March. But by February, you have to place orders, you have to get with bakers for everything that you want to get in June. And, that takes a lot of money at a time there's not a lot of money. So getting better and stronger at learning how to flip that and rotate that is really important.
Well, you've got Doomy soap, you've got bath bombs, you got liquor. I mean, there's no way that I'm not headed up to Traverse City soon.
Purses too, Kat. Purses.
I mean, these are all my favorite things.
These are all of our favorite things. So
which store are you in right now?
I'm in my secret stash right now.
Okay. Well, all right, Karen, would you mind giving us a little glimpse around your store, kind of like you do Facebook style?
It's all kinds of fun. So I'm doing this with my laptop, so we'll see what we can see. But we do support quite a few nonprofits. Up North Pride is one of the nonprofits we support, as well as Norte, which is a local biking group. And so because it's important to be a part of your community, so everybody should be giving something, in my opinion. So there's two groups that we support. Actually just wrote a $12,000+ check to Up North Pride because we support them through the month of June and year round. So these, let's see, fantastic little coasters that are made in Detroit, and they're pretty hilarious. And so we have all kinds of towns, not every town. This is another local maker here from Traverse City who's just a designer who does these really fantastic just mixes of words about places that you want to go. Let's see what else I can see. We've got ceramics. These are from Midland. We've got these cute little signs made with beach rocks and all different kinds of stones. That's Michigan made also. These are my favorite. They're called hug mugs.
Nice.
And just slits right into. There's left-handed versions also because my mom and son are lefties. Let's see. I don't know what you can see always. So that's my Whip It stick. That's another fun one. A solid moisturizer like the Doomy Bar. Our hand and surface sanitizer because everybody needs that, and you can get that at my secret stash.
Yes, taking notes.
Yes, take notes. This is another fun one. We're in the middle of refilling it, but Northern Nail Polish, a friend of ours, Casey from Traverse City, is doing this, and she's got tons and tons of colors, and she makes this nail polish right here in town, and it's a 10 toxin-free nail polish, so it kind of gets rid of all the yucky stuff that you don't need. Let's see. Peninsula's does all of these, let's see, adorable little trays, right? So she's got quite a few different trays, towels, and cups, and they're from Berkeley, and we love the daylights out of them.
Awesome.
We've got some ceramics from Grand Rapids. Let's see, what else are we looking at? That's kind of
jewelry.
Well, yeah, we're at the beer and wine section, so let's just pause there for a second. Gift bags and boxes. We've got there's a lot of Michigan-made food that's fantastic, but because we're Traverse City, we really focus on that. So all kinds of cherry products, fantastic hot sauce, Grand Traverse Hot Sauce Company, 6 lugs. We have syrup from Harwood Gold, if I'm holding that right, which is a generational family who's been doing maple syrup for a million years. Oh, apple chips. We call it crack up here. They're local apples. Like if you go to the movie theaters, like the State or the Bijou, in the candy section, they have those apple chips in the candy section.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, it's crazy. Another favorite, let's see, G3 Studios. They're out of Interlaken. So they do all these really adorable, like laser cut wood.
Those are cute.
Yeah, I know.
And little trivets, right?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
These are
so cute. There, that way looks right, I think. Is that the right way?
Nope.
That way's the right way?
Yeah,
I'm
that
in
way.
reverse. Because of my camera, I'm in reverse. I'm not sure. Let's see, lots of jewelry. Gina wanted to talk about jewelry.
Yeah.
So lots of copper jewelry, Leland blue jewelry.
Oh my gosh.
Christmas blue. We've got all kinds of fun little tea towels of varying styles, right? And a gal from Detroit makes all these for us. The best soap in the world. Can you smell that?
Can you smell it? It smells really good. It smells
really good. So soap and bath bombs, Petoskey goodies,
Ooh.
lots of Petoskey stones,
Oh, that's cool.
jewelry, frames. This is also made in Michigan. Petoskey's made in Michigan.
So
Beautiful
I'm
glass.
so jealous because every time I go into a store like this when I'm up north, I always think I could spend all day here and I could buy everything in here. And this is your life. I mean, this is
yes, every day. This is my life. Every day. I don't hate going to work. I will say that. There's a bonus to that. Let me turn the light on back here. We also have got stickers coming out of my mind. We love stickers.
Wow, you get
Tons of Michigan
back
themes. We've got T-shirts galore.
Cool.
So we carry TCTs. Shout out to Bo at tct.com. He does a lot of all this is like designed and printed right here in town. We have Detroit GT, who's been with us since the beginning. Also, Chris Gorski, and this is a shirt that Chris designed just for us. So it's kind of fun that way. So tons of T-shirts, little funny art things. So sometimes when we say things are a little quirkier, like the other hilarious little signs that a local mom makes for us, everything flipped. It says if Mondays were shoes, they'd be Crocs. She's like this beautiful mom with these beautiful daughters and has really quirky sayings that she actually types out on a real typewriter and then does these blocks. Like my favorite childhood memory is not paying bills. Right. So she's funny. And then we've got a gal from Ann Arbor, Chickaloo Kate Kehoe, Kate Kehoe, like we're best friends and I mispronounced her name, but she makes all these quirky little pencils and signs and stuff that are motivational or cheeky. So my secret stash definitely has a little cheeky, twist to it. But it's a fun shop. You can really get lost just walking around and having a good time here. So there's tons more. You have to come in.
That's right. And if we could see Apogee, it'd be even more cat. You'd be like, oh, I'm going to just spend my day between the two. And they're not that far. A block
they're
and a half.
half a block off.
Really?
A half a block. And we definitely send, people like, hey, go check out our sister store. If you love this, check this out. And it's just different. One's not better or worse than the other. They're just different, right? And that's how you should do it. If you're going to have a store, make it different.
For sure. Well, Karen, I'm so glad that you joined us on Success Principles. This has been a lot of fun, and we enjoyed talking with you and hearing your success. And we will have some information at the back end of this on how to contact you and your store. And if you want to do any kind of, somebody says, hey, I heard you on this podcast, you get a 2-for-1 Doomy. I don't know. What would you like?
No. So you got it from the
can't say that. That will never.
Oh, I can't.
It's DEW because your skin is dewy soft. I don't know what you're thinking about. I don't know where your mind is.
Well, she does work with me, Karen. So
God. My face is so red.
I mentioned this podcast. Get 10% off your purchase, and if you're really going for it, find me because I'm in one of the 2 stores, and I'll make sure it's good. We'll do a selfie. I love doing selfies in town.
Awesome. And you can't give us any hint about what's coming up for you next?
Not yet. Oh, too many things have to fall, right? We're here, and like that. I'm at 1%, and 100% is when it's done. But it's there. It's just 8 million billion little things have to fall in line first. So
we just might have to have you follow up on this. Karen, thanks so much. We'll talk to you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to our show. We know your time is valuable, and we appreciate that you have taken the time to stop by for a bit.
For more information about the topics we discussed today, there are links in the show notes for your reference. If you'd like to learn more about the Success Principles podcast and about Kat and myself, go to www.successprinciplespodcast.com. Gina Wells is an investment advisor representative of Retirement Wealth Advisors Incorporated, an SEC-registered advisor. Success Principles Podcast and RWA are not affiliated. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. This information should not be considered tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with professionals specialized in fields of tax, legal, accounting, or investments regarding the applicability of the information for their situation. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments will fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than originally invested.